This is the First Read Ultimate Spider-Man podcast, where we discuss Miles Morales, the one and only Spider-Man. I'm Zach, and joining me as always is the white boy with a little motion, Johnny O.
Good morning, Zach.
How we doing, man?
I'm doing great, and how are you doing on this splendid morning?
I am doing fantastic because
Yes, why?
we haven't talked since the IU Hoosiers became the national champions of football.
Oh my gosh.
We
That's
gotta
right.
lead with that.
Which we
how do
both
you-
predicted.
Yes. But it was a little closer, I think, than
It
we
was closer
expected.
than we thought. Yep.
Just made the story better. How did you watch the game? What did you think about it?
I went to Nashville with some other Hoosier friends, and we were visiting one of our buddies, and it was pretty fun. We just watched it at his house and got
Right
a little
on.
silly. So it was nothing too crazy. I feel almost a little bad that I left Indiana for it. You know, I kind of wish I hadn't, but it was still a good time. What
Good.
a game.
What a game, indeed. I was stupid enough for like a couple of days leading up to it. I thought I was going to go down to Bloomington and go to one of the bars. Like I was thinking about going to KOK and watching the game.
You should have. That would have been awesome.
I shouldn't have, because these crazy Bloomingtonites were lined up on the street 24 hours early in freezing conditions with tents just to get into the bars. So I would have wasted the gas to get down there.
Wow. And I heard Brothers was $50 to cover.
Are you serious?
Can you believe that?
And you know they were just filled way past
Oh my
capacity
gosh,
too.
it was definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. We're a winning school now. You know, IU, here's for all the listeners, here's a fun fact. IU started this football season as the losingest team of all time, and they ended it as the first ever 16-0 team, and maybe the best team of all time.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
just incredible.
Phenomenal stuff. And they also now are the latest school to go undefeated and win a championship in football and in basketball.
Yep.
Because Bob Knight was the last, coach to do that back in 76.
Yep. Arizona might get close this year.
You
They
think?
look strong. So what did you do for the game?
I just watched it at my dad's house.
Nice.
Yeah. But pretty good game. Came down to the wire. A couple times there, I didn't think they were going to pull it off, but, they had the magic when it counted.
I never for 1 second thought they were going to lose, but it was getting awfully close.
Yeah.
I always had faith that defense was going to make a stop there at the end.
I had faith that Carson Beck was somehow going to throw an interception when it mattered.
Exactly. He's not built for it like
And
Mendoza is.
He came through.
Carson Beck came through throwing an interception.
Yeah.
And then apparently he wasn't shaking hands with people afterwards. And he gave an interview that's like, no, I'm not going to shake hands with people. Dude, grow up. That's so stupid.
I was texting a buddy of mine, and we were like, oh my God, Carson Beck looks exactly like this dude that we knew in middle school and high school, who just turned super douchey the older he got. And we're like, Carson Beck is Jay Ghazi if his dad bought him an Audi as his first car. We were just roasting Carson Beck and calling him, Jay Ghazi with a silver spoon in his mouth.
Who's Jay Ghazi?
Just this friend from high school.
That's just the guy that you knew.
Yeah, that we don't talk to anymore. Did you see what Signetti said after the game when he was like, they're like, what are you going to do next, coach? He's like, I'm going to crack open a beer. And they're like, what beer have you been drinking all season after you win every game? And he shouted out Upland Brewery in Bloomington, and they sold out of everything instantly. He elevated this local brewery to national fame, to where people are buying their Indiana game day beers in bulk.
That's awesome. I thought you were going to say something like Budweiser. That's what Peyton Manning said after he won the Super Bowl.
No, I like the fact that Curt Cignetti, I mean, he's only been here 2 years. He doesn't have to act like a local man and like do incredibly Bloomington things, but he does. And that's awesome.
Answer. Yep. And IU had a huge win last night. I don't know if you saw in basketball.
I did not see that. Who'd they beat?
On the road against UCLA, a freshman hit a free throw with 0.3 of a second left to win the game.
Nice.
In double overtime.
Well, it's no Watt shot, but that sounds pretty cool.
Yes. Probably a very cool moment for that guy.
Yeah.
So, what else has been happening?
Yeah, we're past that.
Month?
I know that was a long time ago. We just haven't recorded in forever. What have you been up to?
Nothing.
Yeah, same.
My basketball team lost. I think that's old news by now, but I just didn't know if I'd brought it up.
Did you run the play I sent you?
No, we should have. Maybe we wouldn't have lost.
Yeah, you can steal an easy rebound on any inbound pass by having most of your team get on the ground and bark like dogs as a distraction. Found that out on Instagram.
Yep. What have you been up to?
Honestly, a lot of reading and watching TV because we're snowed in. We also, I don't know if you got a ton of snow up there, but there is like 2 feet of snow around my house right now.
We got a bunch of snow.
Haven't been going on my walks. We finished Stranger Things. Did you watch that?
I've watched a bit of the climax in the last episode, and I've watched many videos about it. I was watching a video about it this morning.
That's good. That's how
people are not happy.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I came to appreciate elements of Stranger Things as I was watching that last season because I realized like, man, there's so many people that are working on this that are probably like some of the best in the world at specific things, right? Like sound design and lighting and director of photography and like color gradation and visual effects. Like there's so many things that it just does incredibly well. But then just some of the writing, man, and some of these kids acting just ruins it. I mean, they were like very supposed to be emotional moments, you know, where like Mike and Elle are like making out and crying and saying goodbye. And I was just laughing out loud because I was like, I can't take this acting seriously at all. This is taking me out of the show so much.
Yeah.
But it was fine. It was good.
That's what you want after a 10-year build-up. It was fine. Yeah. It was good.
It definitely lost steam with every increasing season, every passing season. And I feel like they did a good job of making it all make sense. But I actually think that kind of worked to its detriment because I liked the idea that all of this stuff that was happening in Hawkins was just like beyond our understanding, right? It's mysterious. When you give answers for everything, who Vecna is, where his power comes from, what the Upside Down is, and these like high school kids are able to figure it out and stop it, and everything has a neat little bow on it, it's just like a little less satisfying.
Yeah.
Than like in the first season.
Yeah.
But it was fine.
I think that the biggest problem with Stranger Things is that they make every episode like movie length. And I think that's so I just it's hard for me to get through one episode, and you cannot tell me that you can't cut like an hour of each of those episodes out and still have like a tight 45-minute show, you know?
I'm just wondering what would have been the argument against instead of doing 8 episodes and some of them are as long as 2 hours long. What's the argument against
the finale,
making it?
I think, was like 2.5 hours.
It was longer than most movies. Why not just make it like 12 or 13 episodes?
Yeah.
Do they really think that people are not going to watch the end of it because there's more episodes,
that
but
would
they're
be way better.
A regular amount of time.
The cats are fighting, if you can't hear.
I couldn't hear them, but I could see you reacting to something.
There will be some hissing and groaning probably coming along.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so Stranger Things was disappointing, and all of the fans gave it the Sherlock treatment where they thought a secret episode was coming to explain why the show was so bad.
That's like the worst.
It never happened.
Yeah. How
That's the biggest cope ever when you're like, no, it was bad on purpose. There's a good episode coming.
They were just rage baiting.
And I remember getting into that with Sherlock back in the day.
That is so funny. Evangelion actually did that. So,
did they?
Yeah, Evangelion, when they were coming out, it was... Honestly, the production of it sounds a lot like South Park, where it was like they were on a deadline. They're like, we have to get an episode out tomorrow. What the fuck are we going to do? And so the last few episodes of Evangelion, you can tell where they're cutting corners. And it's kind of cool. Like it still looks artistic, but you're like, oh, instead of drawing, 100 frames for this scene, they drew like 10, and they're all like super wide distant shots where people's mouths aren't moving and you just hear them talking. You can tell where they cut the corners. And then it was so big and successful in Japan, and it had all this build up, and people were like, how's Evangelion going to end? And like Stranger Things, it had so many balls in the air that had not been resolved, and they had like they were on deadline. They were over budget, behind schedule, and they had to get like 2 episodes out. And they made this very experimental, like avant-garde ending that basically happens in like a dreamscape that didn't answer any of the questions. And people were so mad. They sent the series creator like death threats. And then a year later, they came out with a movie called End of Evangelion that was the actual intended last 2 episodes. And he made sure that it was like traumatic as hell, and it was like a middle finger to all the fans. But it also was like
because
the best
they
movie
all
ever.
didn't like the other one.
Yeah, that's the speculation.
You guys.
Yeah, I mean it's honestly one of my favorite movies ever, but it's like all your favorite comfort characters just like suffer and die in the worst ways.
Well, people like might have liked Stranger Things if they had done that. That's one of the criticisms I hear a lot is like nobody died and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, everyone has plot armor. You see them take out like hundreds of soldiers. Like, 1 or 2 characters will have a gun or a grenade, and they're just mowing down these like platoons of soldiers. And
Can you really not hear any of the feline behavior that's going on here? This is absurd.
No.
There are like 3 cats all hissing and groaning at each other within 5 feet of the...
I saw one of them run past you on the desk a little bit ago.
I need a minute here. I need to go get a spray bottle so I can spray these fuckers.
Okay.
It's because there's a dog in the house. So all 3 of the cats are just up here in my office with me because none of them want to leave. So now they're all annoying each other in a confined area.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, Spider-Man?
Yeah, Spider-Man. But first, a word from our sponsor, Upland Brewing.
Every business says they're better. But the ones that earn and display the BBB seal back it up. It instantly identifies businesses that are committed to operating with integrity, honoring promises, and telling the truth. Makes you wonder why every business doesn't have it. So look for it, because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
And we're back.
Which episodes are we doing today? Which issues?
Today we are in Ultimate Comics Spider-Man number 15 and 16. Now I heard that.
Yep. That was an energy drink from last night. A bucked up energy.
Bucked Up. What weird ass third brand is that?
It's 300 milligrams.
Is that legal in America?
Yeah, we were getting bucked up.
Sounds like it.
I was playing some League of Legends with the boys.
Did you ever have like the original formula of Four Loko?
No. The original formula was like outlawed a year before or sometime like that. My friend group started getting into Four Lokos. Luckily.
I had to hear about it like secondhand. Like the older kids at my school were like, Four Loko is crazy. And then the FDA.
Four Loko is still crazy, by the way.
That's true. Yeah.
Even without the caffeine, the Four Lokos hit extremely hard.
But it apparently used to be legendary.
Yeah.
In a bad way.
We would do something called Sidewalk Slammers. If anybody would like to try this, go for it. It's where you'd get a 40, like a 40-ounce beer from a gas station and a Four Loko, and you would drink your beer down to the label, and then you would fill it up with Four Loko, and then you would drink it down to the label, and you'd fill it up with Four Loko and drink it and repeat until both are eventually gone. And they're called Sidewalk Slammers because eventually, you just fall down. And I think I tried that a couple times and never made it through the entire time without losing my memory.
Lightweight.
Yep.
This is not as cool as that, but
that was very cool.
No, that's super cool. That's like grown up. I used to do this thing that we learned at church camp called Christian drugs, where you stare up into the night sky at a star as your like reference point, and then you spin around as bunch as fast as you can, and then someone shines a really bright flashlight in your eyes, and like something about your equilibrium is thrown off, and your knees buckle and you fall to the ground.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. We didn't get drunk from it though.
That's a real sidewalk slammer.
Yeah. Anyways, want to get into these comics?
Let's do it.
All right. You want to take the first one?
Sure. I'm happy to do that. We're back with Spider-Man. Some listeners some webheads, some of our precious boys and girls, they might say, why do we always switch comics? I thought we were reading this and now we're reading that. And I would say the same thing, Zach.
It's because they happen concurrently.
Concurrently?
Look at the teacher correcting the pupil.
Here's
Can you tell I didn't make it long as an English major?
Oh, is there an update on architecture school?
No, I probably won't hear back until like March or April.
Okay. Should we start calling you Art Vandelay? Are you a Seinfeld guy at all?
I don't want to jinx it, so maybe hold off until I actually hear if I got in.
Okay.
But and yes, I've been getting a lot of Art Vandelay jokes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we're back with Spider-Man because these things happen concurrently, and he's with Captain America, Thor, and Nick Fury and Iron Man on the front. And I am happy to get some Spider-Man. He's been in the background of a couple of our scenes. Remember, he was there for the president's inauguration. He got an invite to that.
And this story today happens just like a little bit before that.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, this is how we get caught up to that scene.
Okay.
I really like, this cover, Nick Fury and the Ultimates around Spider-Man. And it really does feel like Bendis was like, okay, we're picking back up where we left off with Peter, where we're going to have Spider-Man get trained up by the Ultimates. Except now we've just changed who that Spider-Man is.
Well, and it makes it look like he's part of the team. We got to bring this Spider-Man in.
It's a cool cover.
Yeah, so Miles and Genki are they're at the BVA, the Brooklyn Visions Academy, and they're just kind of studying. And Genki's trying to give Miles some superhero advice. He's like, I know how you could be the most popular superhero. And he's like, you should have a catchphrase after you punch someone, but instead of the same catchphrase, it's like a different one every time. And the first one he says, he punches and he goes, Yahtzee. And Zach, I'm not joking when I say this. When I was making breakfast this morning, something happened I don't remember, and I went, Yahtzee.
It's a good catchphrase.
Because it was like something, there was some sort, I don't remember. Isn't that nuts?
That is nuts. Now, what you have to do is come up with a different catchphrase every time you make breakfast, and you'll be the most popular breakfast maker.
Well, I do. That's the thing. I don't say Yahtzee a lot. It was a completely like random,
Right.
I do kind of just say different stupid things.
Yeah. You do strike me as an ad-libber.
Thanks.
I bet you do good in improv comedy.
I don't think I would, but I appreciate you. So Genki is giving him a lot of different ideas. He's like Shampoo, Charles Barkley, Tenacious D, Sacagawea. These actually are pretty good. While he was going through these, I was like, this would be really funny if somebody did this. He says, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Do you think this is after he passed away or before?
I think this would have been before.
I would think so too. I think that might be in bad taste if it was after.
Yeah. But I think it was probably when he was like in those Hunger Game movies, and he was still like a very big star right up until he died.
Oh, yeah. And Miles jumps back at him and does like a punch of his own and says, study. And Genki's like, I'm not studying until you show them to me. And Miles says, lock the door. And he pulls out the box that Aunt May gave him with Peter's web shooters. And there's also a formula for webbing in there, which I was wondering how he was going to make it. So that's pretty helpful.
It's really convenient that every kid that gets spider powers is also like really smart at science.
Well, this is all Aunt May. Well,
she
they
gave
would
it
have
to
no idea how to make it if not for Peter giving them the formula.
Sure, but also Miles is like 13, and if you gave me a chemistry formula today, I wouldn't know what to do with it. This is telling us that Miles is at least smart enough that he's like, okay, I think I could figure this out.
Let me tell you what you do with it. You take a picture of it, you post it to ChatGPT. How do I do this?
Subcontract it out to Reddit.
Yep. Yeah. This would be pretty hard to follow because it's not like a formula. It's just like it shows a lot of like chemical bonds. So I don't know how you would do that. I'm not smart enough. I'd have to take it to the science teacher. She would know. And Miles is like, how do we make more? And Genki's like, I don't know. And Miles is like, you were the one that was supposed to know. You're a smart guy. And Genki is apparently not smart in chemistry. He's smart in Lego building, but not chemistry. And just then, the RA, for lack of a better word, kind of barges through the door. And he's like, this isn't supposed to be locked. And Miles throws a towel around himself really quickly and is like, dude, I was changing. And they get the RA to leave. And they clean up the webbing that they were playing around with. And they realize that they pulled a piece of the wall out of the webbing. So these kids are getting into trouble already with this stuff.
I don't like that we've seen this exact scene already. Feels like multiple times now where Genki wants to see some Spider-Man thing and he's like, show me. And Miles is like, lock the door. And then the RA is like, this door's not supposed to be locked.
Yeah, this happens time and time again.
It's not charming or like fun like the running gag of the police station. There's always some crazy person yelling. This is just like a regular scene that has now repeated at least twice.
I think it's just trying to do some exposition. But they just keep doing it in the same way instead of like changing up how they can say something.
We've only been in this series for like 14 issues at this point, and we're already repeating scenes. That's just it's a small gripe, but it is a gripe.
Yeah. So Miles is walking to his parents' house, and as he gets there, he sees a police officer outside the door. And apparently the police are there to talk to Miles's parents and Miles about his Uncle Aaron. And there's a SHIELD agent. And Zach, have we met this SHIELD agent before?
Maria
Are we supposed
Hill.
to recognize her? Is it Maria Hill? Okay.
She says her name.
Okay. And she's there, and she's like, hey, we just want to talk about your Uncle Aaron. Were you close with him? And Miles is like, kind of. And she's like, it's a yes or no question. And Miles says, well, actually, it's not, because we used to talk, but then we weren't allowed to. And he kind of got her. I feel like he put her in her place a little bit.
He did.
Yeah. I love it when kids put their adults in their places.
Except for in your day job.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Okay, shoot. Maybe we'll get to it later, but we did have our teacher 8th grade volleyball game this past Friday.
Okay, how bad did you demolish them?
Well, we can get to it later.
All right.
There's a tease. So, Maria Hill wants to know about their relationship. She's telling him, she says, the Prowler was a master thief. You know, he evaded the law for years. It seems unlikely that all of a sudden he would just decide to become the kingpin of New York City. Something must have changed in his life to make him, you know, move out of the shadows and want to do that. And he was also, you know, beating up beating up mobsters with Spider-Man. So they're like, so Miles, you talk to your uncle, what could have changed? And Miles is like, I don't know, not anything. And I think Maria Hill can tell that he's lying a little bit. You know, he's not being completely honest. And she says, oh, I guess we're done here. And she talks to Miles' dad on the way out, and she's like, hey, I understand why you're, you know, why you don't want us talking to Miles. There's nothing more important than your boy. I don't think she's being fully honest. I think she's being a little bit of a jerk.
Yeah, I think she definitely suspects.
Or just a little sneaky.
Something about Miles.
Yeah.
But Jefferson was not having it. He was like, stop asking my kid questions. He wanted her out of there a long time ago.
Well, do they know that? She should know that Miles is Spider-Man.
I think she should, or at least if she might go back to like Nick Fury or Captain America now or something and like ask for confirmation about that. They're like, she might be like, I think this kid might be involved with the Prowler, and then they would tell her,
oh like, yeah, he's Spider-Man.
we already know.
And during that conversation, Maria Hill did say, she was like, oh, it turns out Uncle Aaron wasn't killed by Spider-Man. He was killed by his own piece of technology that backfired on him. So that's kind of a load off of Miles' shoulders. And then when the scene changes, we see Genki immediately hugging Miles and saying, dude, that's huge. And he's like, you're off the hook. You didn't kill anyone. That's so awesome. And Miles is maybe a little relieved about it, but he still isn't psyched because his uncle's dead. And everyone on the news and everything still thinks that he killed his uncle or Spider-Man killed the Prowler. So he's still not totally happy. And as they're walking through the halls that day, there's an announcement and everyone has to report to the gym. And it turns out that with all the craziness happening in the world, the Brooklyn Visions Academy is going to close until all this stuff can get worked out. And to the Brooklyn Visions Academy's credit, it did seem like they were going strong there with all the craziness. I mean, you would never know that the world is a complete train wreck on the outside. It's business as usual there.
Yeah. I do think it's funny that in Peter's series, we were shown like 100 different instances of, Green Goblin attacking the school or students being kidnapped and, all kinds of superhero fuckery happening. But that was a public school. They could not close down. You were expected to be in class tomorrow morning at 7 p.m.
Yeah,
7 a.m.
So they're like, okay, we're going to close till all the craziness gets settled. And Miles, now he is kind of psyched because he's like, okay, well, now I can go be Spider-Man. And Ned says that he should go and train with Captain America, like Captain America offered. He should go be a part of the Ultimates. And
Genki's shirts always crack me up. He's in
did I say Ned? I think I did. I can't. Darn it. I almost made it through a whole issue.
He's in his Statler and Waldorf shirt from the Muppets.
That is funny. So Miles is swinging through the city with his new web shooters and his new webs. And he looks out at the city and he sees a bunch of like helicopters and planes circling around the Triskelion. And he's like, they do need help. I can help. But how do I get there? And he's like, oh my gosh, I have these web shooters. Wow. And he webs onto a helicopter and he swings his way through the air over to the Triskelion. And you would think that they'd be happy to see him. They know Spider-Man. He basically received an invitation from Captain America. But he shows up and all of the police officers and everyone starts shooting at him. Which I know Zach mentioned earlier when I said this to him in private, but that never happens. The cops are never shooting at Spider-Man.
Authority figures in general just never discharge their guns for no reason.
Mandy and I were watching Doctor Who, and, he's always like running away from like cops or soldiers with guns out. And she said, isn't he worried about getting shot? And I said, no, because it's not in America.
Right, it's Great Britain.
That's a classic.
Right. The constable just runs you down and grabs you, and you say, unhand me, and you run the other way. It's all in good fun.
And so Spider-Man webs up all of the soldiers, and he's like, okay, maybe I should call first next time. Let him know I'm coming. And as he's kind of swinging away and running down the halls, Captain America shows up and says, excuse me, son, what are you doing? And Miles says, Spider-Man reporting for duty, sir. I want to join. I want to be an Ultimate. I'm ready. And the issue ends. This is the team up we've been waiting for.
We were promised it oh so long ago.
Okay, let's see. What's our rating scale here? How about... out of 10 catchphrases when you punch someone.
Ooh, and then you got to give me your best one.
Okay.
Okay.
Like from the issue or just that you can think of?
No, like you just punched me. What's your catchphrase? Don't think, just respond.
Banana hammock.
Right on. Fern.
I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Is that wrong?
No, that's not wrong. That's pretty fair for what
it seemed like not that much happened. It was a pretty quick read.
It didn't deliver very much. It seemed like it was trying to lean heavily on the charm of like Miles and Genki's rapport, but it was not landing for me. I just didn't find it that funny or cute or clever or anything. It didn't.
There was no villain of the week.
And also, it resolved the internal conflict that Miles was having about feeling guilty about Aaron dying. And I get that you don't want your new like flagship hero of this universe to be a murderer. But I feel like it was a little convenient that they let him off the hook so quickly and easily.
Well, we knew he wasn't a murderer.
Right.
It's not like the audience needed that conversation.
Exactly. No one reading this book was blaming Miles for Aaron's death. Yeah, I didn't love this one. The art is great, though.
Yeah, it is.
When he's swinging through the city in the rain, his webs are just beautiful.
Yeah, he does get to go use the web shooters for the first time, which is fun.
It like almost draws your attention to the fact that we've gone this whole series so far of a Spider-Man who's just jumping and running around and turning invisible. This is like the first time he actually gets to have the full experience. All right. Do you have anything else for this one?
I don't think so.
All right. Enough said. Moving on to Ultimate Spider-Man number 16.
Zach, your girl is on the cover.
She is. I didn't notice that at first. She's she's in one of the stripes of the flag. And everyone knows who we're talking about, of course. It's Jessica Drew. And I gotta check this out. Was he the artist on your last one? My God.
Oh, I didn't even say.
This is written by Brian Michael Bendis, art by Pepe Larraz, who is one of my favorite artists, like ever, in comics. Colored by Justin Ponzer and lettered by VC's Corey Petit. I feel like Pepe Larraz's pencils are very similar to Stuart Immomen's, and they both just have that like crisp dynamism that I feel like really makes all the panels pop, makes you want to keep reading the page, keep looking at it.
Yeah. I am trying to go back and find that last issue now to see if it's the same person, but it's so difficult because once you finish it, it doesn't show up on the continued reading section anymore.
It is hard to go to the last
now
issue.
I gotta scroll through all these issues that we've done. Oh, yeah. Let's see. There it is. No, it was not. It was David Marquez.
I was
Ponzer.
Gonna say, I felt like yours was David Marquez's art. This one's Pepe Larraz. Not as good as some of his later work, but I still like it. So this one picks up where the last one left off, but we're from Jefferson Davis's perspective. So it's raining, we're in New York City, and the street is blocked off in front of their house, and it's blocked off by S.H.I.E.L.D. And Jefferson shows up and he's like, "That's my house. I'm trying to get there." And they're like, "Sir, you can't go this way. You can't cross this line." And he steps over the barricade that they've erected. And he's like hell, I can't. I'm an American citizen. This is my home. I need to go home. And they're like, "Sir, someone called in a threat." And he's like, "But I live there. This is my house. Is this America? The land of the free? Let me in my house." And the S.H.I.E.L.D. guys just swarm and detain him.
This reminds me of like the South Park episode where anytime people can't do anything, they're like, "Oh, I thought this was America. What is this, Nazi Germany? Come on."
"Oh, they changed the Four Loko formula. I thought this was America." And
you're definitely like, you're not allowed to do that. You can't just walk through a bunch of like a big police barricade and just be like, "No, I don't care. I'm doing this," you know. So he should have really found another route. I understand. Is this like happening right outside his house?
Yeah.
No, this is like on the bridge or something, I think.
No, there's like an exposition shot on the bridge, but obviously he doesn't live on the bridge. You know,
yeah.
we've zoomed in quite a bit for that next scene. John, I really want to be like woke here, and I really want to like turn this into something about like current events.
They do say send him to the detention area. That seems ominous.
I am absolutely sympathetic with people that are being snatched up by government thugs right now in the real world, I feel like this is a poor comic book example of that if you're trying to treat it as like an injustice. Because Jefferson, he really does just try and like barge in for absolutely no reason.
Yeah. Oh, well, he wanted to go home.
He wanted to go home. And so we're back at the Triskelion, and this is where we left off. And Miles is like, Captain America, I'm here to enlist, sir. I want to sign up. I want to be an ultimate. Let's do this. And Captain America is barking mad. He's like, kid, are you out of your mind? You were 13 years old. And he's like, oh, I knew he was going to say that. And Miles says, but I have the stuff you said before. And he's like, I know your heart's in the right place, kid. But this isn't just swinging around the city time. The world is literally on the brink of complete disaster. I don't know that the literally was necessary, but he's like, you chose this time to just drop in on one of the most secure facilities in national defense system. You don't know that you didn't know that you would end up on your butt with guns pointed at your face. The fact that you didn't know this was completely inappropriate proves to me that you're too young and too naive. This Captain America is kind of being like cartoonishly by the book.
Well, I get the feeling as he's saying this, you know, there are like 1,000 helicopters and planes swirling about. So I get the feeling that Spider-Man dropping in sent off a pretty big emergency.
Right. Well, the planes were already there, but absolutely, it's like the Baxter Building. The second something lands on the Triskelion, sensors start going wild.
Yeah.
And so as they're standing
but you are right that Captain America and Iron Man and Nick Fury, they never just like keep to one side. They're like, we're gonna train you, and then they show up and they get screamed at and they get sent home, and then Captain America comes back and he'll be like, I shouldn't have screamed at you like that. I'm sorry, boy. And then they yell at them again the next time.
I think what I'm getting frustrated about is not that these are like bad ideas. It's that these are like some good ideas being executed poorly. Like there was a way to make that scene with Jefferson and the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents really like heavy and have some like smart, you know, sociopolitical undertones. And I just feel like it didn't land. And I feel like this scene also doesn't land because Captain America comes off too much as like a Boy Scout. And he's just bitching at Miles over nothing. And as they're standing there talking, you see these helicarriers in the background. And one of the soldiers turns around and he's like, hey, boss, that thing's getting pretty close. And then it crashes right into the building. And so that one that was hijacked or something. Honestly, pretty surprising that they did this after 9/11, but sure, we're going to crash a helicarrier into the Triskelion. And isn't that what happened in Winter Soldier also?
Yes.
Which would have come out just a couple years after this comic.
A helicarrier did crash into the Triskelion in that.
Yeah. And Miles is on the ground. Apparently that, you know, it didn't kill our heroes. It just kind of knocked them down.
It just killed all the normal people.
All the Hearth Michelsons
Yep.
blew up and got crushed. And Miles is like, this isn't my fault, right? And Captain America is like, is it? And Miles says, I don't think so. And he's like, then I'm going to say no. And a missile heads their way and kind of blows up next to them and sends Captain America falling over the edge of the building. And Miles, to his credit, is able to like reach out and grab onto the edge of the building and shoot a web down and catch Captain America so he doesn't fall all the way off the Triskelion. And we see a Hydra super soldier standing above Miles. And he's like, let go of the rope. Let him fall. First of all, dude, it's not a rope. It's a web. Clearly, this is not Rope Man. This is not Fancy Dan you're talking to. This is Spider-Man.
Yeah, you should know who this is by now.
Yeah. And the guy points his gun down and he's like, let him fall. Let him die a fool's death. Let the last words he hears be Gorgons. Hail Hydra. And Miles turns invisible and says, I don't think he heard you. Try texting him. And Cap throws his shield through the glass and swings his way into the Triskelion. Because, remember, this is like an all-glass, modern skyscraper building that he can just break right through the walls. The walls are windows, baby. Thank God for modernism. And so he gets away, and the guy's like, son of a... Anyways, he starts blasting. And Cap gets through the window, and he's like, all hands, we need a battalion of Hulkbusters on the roof. We're under attack. And I mean now. And you would have thought they would have known that the second something crashed into the building. But
everyone, it should have been all hands on deck. What did they think was happening?
Oh, that man's still playing Galaga. And we get back up onto the roof, and Miles is beating the shit out of Gorgon and his men, and it looks pretty cool. And we get one of these panels. I always like these ones where it's one big panel and it shows Spider-Man in multiple places, and it's like giving you this sense of really fast movement. So you see, like, in the background, oh, he's shooting webs at these guys. Now he's jumping a little closer to you and he's kicking this guy. And he's just making his way up the page.
Yeah, that's a good panel. Those are fun.
It's an awesome way to show, like, movement and action and really give you this sense that he's just, like, running around kicking ass. And eventually someone, like, hits him in the head with the butt of their rifle or something. I don't know why they wouldn't just shoot him, but he's down for the count. And Cap and the Hulkbusters arrive. And he's like, kid, stop messing around and take out that Quinn carrier. And Miles looks up and there's another, like, helicarrier that's been hijacked that's firing down on them. And he swings up it, riding a rocket. And Cap's like, just make sure it doesn't hit the building. And we see some cool action shots of Cap throwing his shield, and it's like pinballing off of a dozen Hydra agents. I'm not really sure what's going on in this moment, but it's just very cool action. And you know what? I appreciate Pepe Larraz for that.
Yep. Cap is just kicking ass.
Yeah.
And we get a panel of him and doing multiple kicks and rolls.
That's what we came here for.
Yep.
And at some point, Miles is, like, falling, and Captain America's like, the kid, Spider-Man, someone save him before he... And we know, of course, he's still feeling guilty about his role in Peter dying. But then, you know, it's like, Miles isn't Peter. That's not happening again, Cap. It's okay. He's got it under control. We see Miles come swinging up. He's like, woohoo! And Cap says, Hydra, drop your weapons and surrender. And this is where he starts doing some cool kicks and stuff. And I think he's fighting Gorgon at this point, like the leader of the Hydra army. And Gorgon has Cap down, and it looks like he's about to win. He's stolen Cap's shield. And then all of a sudden, he gets kicked from behind by Miles because he was invisible the whole time. You know, that trick that he always uses. And Miles is like, where'd they get all these weapons and stuff? And Cap's like, they stole them from us. And Cap throws his shield at this helicarrier that's still up in this air because Miles wasn't able to take it down. This is awesome. He's on the roof of a building. It's raining. He just chucks his shield basically at a plane in the distance. It smashes through the correct window, kills the pilot, and it goes down. And then the shield comes back to Captain America.
That is awesome. It reminds me of one of my favorite all-time scenes in the Marvel movies, after the elevator scene with Cap, when he like breaks out and he's riding his motorcycle and he just flings his shield at the helicarrier in front of it and like jumps on it and he just takes it out with his shield. It's very Cap.
Yeah. I've seen this question asked before, and it basically comes down to who is best at like geometry in the Marvel universe, and they say who would win in a game of pool? Daredevil, Cyclops, Captain America, or Bullseye? Because they all have this like innate sense of like, oh, this thing will ricochet off this thing, which will cause this, and it always works for them.
Well, okay. I don't think it'd be Daredevil. I don't think it'd be Bullseye, because he has to use the pool cue to hit the ball. I don't know. I don't know enough about Cyclops, but I'd want to say it's probably Captain America.
Interesting. I don't know. I go back and forth. I think a writer could make a compelling argument for pretty much any of those guys. I do think I think it might be Daredevil, honestly, or Cyclops. Anyways, listeners, write in. Who do you think would win in the greatest billiards game of all time? So the day is saved. The rooftop is secured. All the Hydra agents are dead or captured. And Cap is talking to Miles, and he's like, "Kid, I take it back. I take back everything I said. You got what it takes. You want in? We need you." And just then, Thor, Iron Man, and Spider-Woman land on the roof. And Jessica's like, "What is he doing here?" And Cap says, "He's here to help. He's on the team." Hilarious turnaround from where we started to where we are now.
Yep. He earned his stripes.
And Jessica doesn't seem happy about this. She says, "Are you kidding me?" And he's like, Cap's like, "You see this? He did this." And she's like, "The mess?" And he's like, "He took them out." And Thor comes over and says, "Well done, young squire." And he pats Miles on the back, but because he has his god strength, he doesn't know, to take it easy on Miles, and he knocks him down. And Iron Man says, "Welcome to the Ultimates, kid." And Miles asks to borrow a phone, and he calls his mom. He's like, "Hey, Mom, I'm okay." And she's like, "Why do you sound so muffled?" And he's like, "I'm safe. I'm headed over," because he had his mask on, and he pulls his mask up over his lips, and he's like, "I'm safe. I'm headed over to Genki's." His mom says, "They won't let me back into the city, and I can't find your dad. They say we're at war." And Miles is like, "He's not answering his phone? What?" And she says, "That's him on the other line. Just stay there and I'll call you later." And he tells his mom he loves her, and they hang up. And Iron Man comes up to him and says, "Hey, kid, you're not going to want to miss this." And Miles is like, "Why? What's happening?" He's like, "Come on." And this is where we get the scene that we had seen in the Ultimates last episode, where Captain America is standing in front of the Triskelion, and he says, "I am honored to be elected president by the people of the United States. I was taught that everyone must do their best, that we all must do what we can to take care of each other. We must live up to our potential, that when we are called, we must answer. I have decided to answer the call of the people. I accept." And this is where we see Miles standing behind him with all the other heroes. And it says, "To be continued."
And now we're caught up.
Now we're caught up, yes. Now the Ultimates and Ultimate Spider-Man are truly co-current or concurrent, whichever you please.
I did see that there's a 16.1 issue.
Yeah, that was something that they did right after the end of, United We Stand, Divided We Fall on all the Ultimate titles.
Cool. What's our rating scale for this one?
I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10 Hydra Goons.
I think I like that. I like this one better than the last one. Miles joining the Ultimates, that's definitely a good little team up that we were all waiting for. So I might even go 7.5 out of 10 Hydra Goons.
Yes. I would say this one, as with the year issue, are highlighted by really interesting art. I like the fact that all of this took place in the rain. That just kind of adds another level to it. But it was an action heavy issue, and it was good to see every time Miles kind of enters the fights now, you can tell he's getting a little bit better. And it's fun to see him figure out the web shooters. And, I liked the little moment where Captain America is afraid that Miles is going to die because he's thinking about Peter again. Yeah. And then Miles just swings up and he's having the time of his life.
How many issues do we think it'll be before Captain America or Iron Man or Nick Fury is like, kid, you're too young for this? Do we think he makes it 10 issues?
I mean,
10 issues being with the Ultimates. Issues without Ultimates don't count.
Interesting. Yeah, I might take the under on that. I'm not sure. It has been a while since I've read these issues. I don't remember exactly how long this status quo lasts for, but I don't feel like it's very long.
Yeah. What do we have next week?
Next episode, we'll do the last 2 issues of the Ultimates arc, and then we'll get into Ultimate Comics, Spider-Man 16.1 and 17.
Okay, and then I think the week after there's an issue 18 and 18.1.
Yeah, for Ultimates.
Okay. Cool.
I'm going to have to see if we need to read that point 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Do you want to hear about the 8th grade versus teacher volleyball game?
Yes.
Well, this
is always every year that we've been doing this podcast, this has been one of my favorite recurring bits because it always goes exactly how I think it will.
Well, this 8th grade class had a really good class of volleyball players. They have a really good class. So if we were ever going to lose a game, it would be this one. And it was pretty close, and the teachers did pull it out. But normally we win by like 40 to 60 points. And they got it down to about 8 points left with like a minute and a half to play. And we ended up winning by like 9 or 10. But the teachers were sweating at the end. And yeah. I did have some nice swings. But probably my best potential swing of the day, a great set, went up, would have been such a nice hit. One of the kids completely blocked it and put it straight down onto the other side. So that kind of hurt my pride a little bit, but I was also a little proud,
Because you taught him that.
Well, he wasn't one of the kids on my team, but still, he's still a kid I see all the time and have fun with. And, it made me feel a little good to it was a very nice block. It would have been a great hit. So this stinks.
So the season's not done yet for this team, though, right? Do you think they're going to be the ones?
Yet. It hasn't started yet. The evaluations are actually tonight and tomorrow.
Is this going to be the year that you win the city championship?
I hope so, Zach. I certainly hope so.
You're a betting man. Would you bet on it?
I will probably be coaching. I would imagine that the Cadet B team, because the Cadet A team is going to be coached by the principal who has her twin sons are on that team, and her dad coach them. And they will win the championship. I'm very confident. I would say that my B team will win the city championship this year. As long as I can take some of those, as long as maybe they don't want like 10 people on that team, that A team, like just put like 8 people on it. And then there's not as much subbing anyways. And then we can really have a real nice B team also. And then I think both teams will win. It's a good 8th grade class of volleyball players.
Awesome.
We'll see.
Let me know.
I might not coach that team also. I might coach a different one. But
okay. If your kids make it to the city championship, let me know and I'll be there.
Awesome. That'll be fun.
You got anything else? Have your kids said or done anything funny in a while? Do you have a joke for us? How's that one kid that gives you jokes?
The other day we were doing math and I put up a problem and the answer to it was 8675309. And I said, this is a bonus question. If anyone can solve this and tell me why it's funny, then you'll get a bonus point. And a couple of the kids were having fun trying to get it. They were like putting the numbers into letters and seeing if it spelled out a thing.
Did anyone just think it was funny because it has 6-7 in it?
Yeah, that was the first thing. They'd be like, is it 6-7? I'm like, no.
Do you know what that original song was even referencing?
Lonzo Ball, maybe?
What?
The basketball player, because he's 6'7"?
No, not that song. 8675309.
Yeah, dude, it was Jenny's phone number. 8675309.
Huh, you're right. I've never really listened to that song, like, intentionally.
It's a bop. That's the jam of the week.
Okay, that's 8675309.
By Tommy Two-Tone.
You are so right. I would not have got any of those if I was on Jeopardy.
Any of what?
Any facts about that song. All I know is just that the number and, like, the melody.
Yep. What else do you have going on? Anything fun? Zach, if we can keep these episodes to an hour and 10 minutes, we can record more often. This is a breeze. That was the original intent. So long ago. We might have to go back to that kind of. Yeah, we might. Yeah. Dude, I don't know. I've been living a boring life. Like I said, I've been snowed in. Don't have any tales to regale the listeners with. Zach, I've been snowed in with my lady. Things are going very nice. I'm happy to hear that. I know it sounds like you cooked up a hell of a breakfast this morning. Yep, we had a nice breakfast. Love is in the air. I'm very happy to hear that. Wow. Okay. Good. Any final thoughts you want to leave the webheads with? To meet girl in park is good, but to park meet in girl is better. That's good stuff. And the song of the week, the jam of the week is 8675309 by Tommy Two-Tone. What's yours? What is mine, indeed? Guitar by 81355. This is a big numbers episode. We're listening to numbers songs. They're a local rap group here. It actually spells bless. Like the 8 is supposed to be a B, the 1 is supposed to be an L. ESS. Leet speak. Is that what it's called when you use numbers? Yeah. Yeah. So I just got this album yesterday at the record store because I was already listening to a lot of Bless, and I was like, let me see what they have in the local section. I bet they don't have a Bless record, and then they did, and I was like, okay, well, I got to get this album because Guitar is a really good song. Okay, well, there you go. There's 2 good jams of the week, an oldie and a newie. Yep, and they're both numbers. Yep. 8675309-81355. All right. Thank you to all the webheads for listening and leaving a review or comments. You can find us the First Read Ultimate Spider-Man podcast on Spotify or Apple Music or anywhere else you find podcasts. And you can leave us a message on Instagram at First Read Podcast. Send us an email at firstreadspidey@gmail.com or find us on YouTube, the First Read Ultimate Spider-Man Podcast. See you next week.
See ya.